All right, I do believe we are going live here for episode 99 of the On the Hunt podcast. I'm Elijah Winfrey. Joining me tonight, as always, is our resident defensive coordinator, Nate Rucker, the number one Lions fan, Mr. Bobby Bless, and Wise Man Cass. I'm going to toss it over here to Nate Rucker. Nate, if you want to get us around the room while I'm making sure everything is working correct, I would greatly appreciate it.
So you know how we do. Again, y'all, welcome, welcome, welcome. We on that countdown. We almost to that magical number we never thought we was gonna hit 100 episodes. So we making our way there. Man, I hope everybody that's here that's close to us in the D, y'all enjoying this nice weather. I heard it hit 60 degrees today. So
Yes,
I'm
it
Man,
did.
blessed. I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm
some
enjoying
sick
this.
ass snow.
Yeah, man, fuck
Man,
that snow. Cass, how you feeling, my brother?
I am very happy to be here. I'm feeling great,
My
man.
friends.
Hey, man. Listen, look, I'm very happy to be here, man. I'm happy to, like I say, to be a part of the show. I'm just very elated to be hanging out with my brothers this evening and ready to talk some football, man. How you feeling?
Bobby.
Man, I'm good, man. Shoot, just hanging here. I don't know exactly what we're gonna be talking about tonight because this is the part of the year I hate the most. It's just a whole bunch of experts come together to say what the Lions not going to do, and they don't do none of their stuff they say do. That I don't know. If I used to be like so into it where I be trying to keep up. I don't even want to keep up no more. Just surprise me when we on the clock, I guess. But
Yeah, I've heard some egregious shit today. Like, yeah, but my bad. Just like, are you kidding me? But yeah, go
Eli,
ahead,
you
bro.
back with us, doggy?
that man, hey,
So
man,
I'm
piss
still
off the
getting I'm
calculator
still
real
getting
quick.
the link all set, but
All
Bobby,
right.
I know that you like I said, I know you don't like this part of the year because it's all speculation and hardly ever factual. But of course, we wanted to keep things going and try to be a little more consistent for everybody that is tuning in. Remember tonight, if you are tuning in while we are going live, please leave those comments. We would greatly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Once we get there, we can do a whole lot of cool stuff. But right now, we are I want to say about 150 away, believe it or not
Yeah,
from
we
hitting that
almost
1,000
there.
marker. So it's been a journey and it's paying off. So again, we greatly appreciate you supporting the show in all the ways that you do. But again, please, please, please make sure to like that video,
Like,
hit that share button, and
boom.
don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. All right,
Exactly.
so as I'm getting all these links all set, I realize that we need a good photo of Wise Man Cast so that we can add him to the graphic because right now it's me, Reggie, Nate, and Bobby, but no Wise Man Cass. So we need to get a good photo of him so we can add him
I
into the
got
game.
you. I'm gonna send you.
But believe you me, he has enough so sexy photos with
Hey,
his
my man, chill
sexy
on me,
self.
dog.
All right. So first thing that we wanted to talk about tonight is one of those speculation things, right?
Mhm.
And I want to open things up with my thoughts on it, and then kind of open it up to the room. So Miami, I'm not going to say that Miami's having a fire sale right now, but Miami is under a culture change. They got a new coach. I believe they also have a new general manager, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And they are starting to get rid of some of the people that made that locker room the way that it was the past few years. And that's not always, the negative thing that people make it out to be. But whenever you are coming in and you are taking over a franchise, you want things to be the way you want them to be. So
Right.
sometimes the old leadership has got to go. And so Tyreek Hill is going to be released by the Miami Dolphins, and Bradley Chubb is going to be released by the Miami Dolphins. And that would be 29-year-old
Mhm.
defensive end Bradley Chubb. And as everybody knows, because we talked about it last week, we were wondering, hey, what defensive ends are going to be on the market, whenever our team needs one potentially in free agency. And of course, as soon as Bradley Chubb got announced, I know Nate Rucker must have been somewhat excited because that's a name that he has mentioned in the past.
Yeah,
And
you already know it.
here's all I'll say about Bradley Chubb, okay? And then I do want to toss it over to everybody else. I see the value in it. I see how it could be a good thing for us if the Lions were to pursue Bradley Chubb. However, I feel like it would, in a way, be the fan base kind of doing the whole, what's that saying, pot calling the kettle black? Because here's the deal with Bradley Chubb. If you look at this man's history, when he is on the field, he is dominant. But during almost his entire time in Denver, he only ever competed in one full season of football. And in Miami, he also had injury issues. And last season, he played a full year of football. So here's the interesting part for me, okay? When the guy's on the field, he's a monster. He is a headache to deal with, all right? But he's got injury history. So what does that make our fan base look like if Brad Holmes goes out and get this guy and we all celebrate it saying, oh my God, what a pickup, when all of us have bitched about Brad Holmes picking up people with injury histories in the past? Now, granted, I realize it's based on the athlete, right? But still, to me, that would be the fan base, pot calling the kettle black. You complain about this man picking up, people with injury histories, but yet celebrate somebody with an injury history that is well documented. And so that's part of it, right? The other part of it for me is, how much is it going to cost? He's 29 years old. Is he going to want a big old bag of money, or is he going to want to take a discount to play for a contender? I would be curious about that. And if you do get him, knowing his injury history, do you also draft somebody as well, just in case he does end up getting hurt? So that's kind of where I'm at with all of it. I just found it kind of interesting because I was seeing a lot of Lions fans celebrate just the thought of it. They're saying, oh my God, this would be amazing. And it's like, yeah, but they're completely forgetting that this man has been injured before, and he's been injured a lot. But yet they will give Brad Holmes so much shit for getting guys with injury histories like Davenport or like any of the other guys we've picked up in free agency. And again, I realize Davenport and Bradley Chubb are not the same person in comparison. I get that. But again, it's the injury part of it. You're going to bitch about injuries, but then celebrate him picking up potentially somebody with that history. Nate, I'm done talking. Let me toss it over to you, my man. You're the resident defensive coordinator. You were excited about potential of Bradley Chubb. Now he's going to be available. What do you think?
Well, number one, we could talk about injuries, but the key thing about injuries, it's about picking up injured players who have not been productive when on the field. That is the biggest part. So, yes, we complain about Davenport, but that's because Davenport has never been good. That even when Davenport is in the game, he's not good. So you're stuck, in the twilight zone. Like, you're picking up guys who have not been good. You're just putting bodies in there to fill a space. So it'd have been different if Marcus Davenport, if you say, okay, Marcus Davenport, when he's on the field, okay, out of 7 seasons, he's had 4 where he's played the complete season, and then in those seasons, those 4 seasons, you say he's got 50 sacks. And then you say 3 of them, okay, you played 4 games, you played 5, then you missed
he played all 17. He played all 17 games this year.
See, that's my point. So when Chubb is not hurt, he does not miss games. Every game he's available, he plays. And he has an impact every single time. So that's the difference when you're talking about Davenport.
Sacks, though.
Yeah. So
that's
listen,
a lot. That's a lot.
Well, you got to think about it when you have to look at the type of defense and what Miami was doing and how they were moving people out. Remember, Miami was moving people all year. Remember, they traded Jalen Phillips and all types of stuff.
They was losing a lot too.
Right. They was losing, so it really didn't matter. So again, you're talking about, you got one guy on one side, and Bradley Chubb has nobody in the middle, nobody opposite of him. All thing they got to do is run away from him. You see what I'm saying? It's just no difference than with Hutch. So you can say, okay, Bradley Chubb did all that. He played all them games. He had 20 quarterback hits, right? And you say Aiden had 35. So you got 15 more. So we always talk about that guy opposite of Hutch. So when you go back to 23, after the year before his ACL, he had 6 forced fumbles, 11 and a half sacks, 22 quarterback hits. And then the crazy part is that he easily hit 70 tackles for a defensive end, where Hutch has only maxed out at 54. So his productivity at the defensive end shows that it's just not on the pass, it's also the run. And he gets the ball out.
Mm-hmm.
Where you look at Davenport, shit, he ain't did that his entire career. So we're paying a dude literally to make sure that our wheelchair ramp works at the practice facility. Cass, I know you could.
So before we toss it over to Cass, though, I do want to ask Nate. I know Cass is going to go this direction. Is this the guy you would want to get now that he is available, and how much money are you willing to pay him? Because I already know Cass is going to say the salary cap is a real thing, because that's been the thing he's been talking about the last 2 weeks. So is this the guy we're looking for? And what would you pay him? He's 20.
So again, this is where you're looking at. So again, remember the guys that I put out as far as last week. So you have younger guys who aren't that big of a name, but they're serviceable. They haven't been, they don't have the injury history of a Bradley Chubb. One's 27, one's 26. I think the other one's 26 is 27 as well. You got Ajabo, you got Kawiti Pay, you've got Chasen. So again, you have guys out there, but we're not talking about productivity and who's going to get a favorable whistle comes into play as well when you talk about the referees and respect of the game. He definitely can cover. How much were we paying Marcus Davenport to just sit here?
Right.
Man, and
plus those other guys you mentioned, you have to trade for them.
He's not going to be free agents.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to say, because Bradley Chubb is a straight up free agent. You dealing with
Kawiti Pay is a straight up free agent. Okay. You can go with Jabo. Straight up free agent. If you want, a lot of people, I've seen things about Joey Bosa. Again, guess what? Bosa has an injury history. Yes, he'll get the favorable whistle of the officials. But that name right there is going to come with $25 million a year. Where Chubb, remember, he came off, he had the ACL year in 23-24. Last year, he come off this, and guess what? He plays all 17 games. Granted, he only had 8.5 sacks. What was that? 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 20 quarterback hits, 47 tackles. But again, 17 games available, started all 17 games. So you could get him 18, 20 million just because of his past history as far as him being productive. But you don't have to go into the Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby type ballpark where you looking, or Micah Parsons, where you talking about 40 plus million. To me, you get Chubb between 20 and 25 million. That's good.
That's too damn much.
But again, that for me, I'm talking, that's damn good, especially again, this is a hypothetical. He doesn't get hurt, and you put him alongside Aiden 17 games. That's that guy where Hutch gets 83 pressures, right? And the quarterback runs away from him. You're going to run into Chubb. You're going to run into that big dude who has 4.6 speed, who you're not running from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, you talking about that, or you're talking about, so let's say they do Chubb 20 to 25 million. Or you want to play Muhammad, who we know sucks against the run, who only is a third down specialist, and now coming off a double-digit year, they're going to have to pay double-digit money to. You talking about 13, 14, maybe even 15 million for a guy who ain't never had double-digit sacks in his NFL career. He's in his 8th season. So, again, it's one of them, 6'7". What are you going to do?
Me personally, bro, Bradley Chubb, 29 years old. You got Muhammad, 31 years old. I'm not giving a 31-year-old who only had one good season that type of money. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. That's just not a smart investment for me. And you got to think about it. Like, he wasn't a menace every game. His sacks came in spurts. So he had a good game here, didn't do shit 5 games. Had a good game here, didn't do shit for 5 games. Hang on 1 second, y'all. Go ahead, go, Bobby. Let me get my daughter together. Hang on.
I'm a fan of either one of them. To go ahead and draft them because to be honest, those guys ain't really. If they were sweet, they'd be on the team they on. People just don't get rid of you because you're good. Believe it or not, they get rid of you because they think your value is done with. So I'm more of a fan of drafting a guy, whether he in the third round, first round, second round. I don't know, but become that draft guru that we've been waiting on, that we was told about, that we actually have seen, getting these key pieces on the team right now. Because to be honest, Hutch by itself ain't enough. We got and all that other end by rotation. I ain't really feeling.
Not at all. I mean, because when you look at it, it's like, and I give him credit. You know, I gave him a lot of hell last year. We looked at Stewart, we looked at Green, we seen all those plays, and he didn't take none of them. And then when you go back and look at their stats at the end of the year,
Yeah, they weren't no good.
None of so again, so he didn't do what the fan base wanted him to do. He's seen something different, and at the end of the year,
has been known to say he looked at guys for like 2 years, like
right. So I can't really, I can't really be mad at him because he looked at it.
We ain't missed nothing.
He didn't like it, and then right, you didn't miss shit. So it's like they all pretty much were Marcus Davenport. So it's like I can't really be mad at it. So now we're back.
Mosley, who else he had around here wasn't doing shit for
man, Pat Connor,
Levi Pascal, like. What do we get? Like, so many guys, man. They just, I don't know. They love injured motherfuckers, but but like I said, you got, Bosa, he's out there, like I said, he's going to require a couple of dollars, but again, I'm not paying him that type of money too because you can't stay healthy.
And remember, he's upwards of 30. He's older than Muhammad.
So, but my thing is, like, we all want the shiny new toy, right? We want the shiny, we got to get this big name. We got to get somebody that makes some fucking sense, not paying him just because of his name. The production got to be there. He got to fit the scheme. He got to fit the locker room. I got into it with a Lions fan over the weekend, and he was like, we should, what this clown say? He said something so crazy. It was something along the lines of trade Aleem McNeil to get Christian Watkins. I said, bro, is you cool? You gonna trade a guy that's not a locker room guy who be doing all types of suspect stuff, who just had a big contract, went through a whole season, set out, nobody drafted him, nobody picked him up. Like, what are we thinking as Lions fans?
Like nobody offered you a contract willingly. Like it ain't like
that we're doing for the Raiders.
Yeah. Like, why would you want him in your locker room? And like
remember,
with this cat. I'm like, are you? You can't be that
healthy. He's healthy and didn't get picked up.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, nothing wrong with this guy. He just signed something $100-some million contract, $80-some million contract. Get cut before the season started or during it, however the hell he got cut. Sat on the oak all damn year, bro, and nobody picked you up. But this is the guy you want in your locker room. Like, some Lions fans, y'all gotta relax, bro. Like, I just don't understand, man. You got to get somebody that makes sense for what you have, and it got to fit up under the salary cap, man. It got to make sense for all parties. Not because it's a shiny new toy, and that's what we want to talk about because we're so desperate for this particular position. I rest my case. I'm getting pissed off. Take a walk.
So let me hop back in here. So I will say for myself, like I said, when it comes to Bradley Chubb, would I be upset about the move? No. But again, my bigger thing, and nobody else talked about this, and maybe it's not a big thing for the rest of the group, but like I said, I've listened to Lions fans over the past 3 years be so upset about the fact that we keep getting guys with injury history, but then the minute this guy comes available, we're like, oh, yeah, that guy. And it's like, okay, that guy has only played 2 full seasons of football in his NFL career. Did we forget about that? And they're like,
Well, not Bradley.
But
Not
when
Bradley
he's
now.
on the field though, and again, wouldn't it just be fitting for our team to spend that money and then have something happen, and then his ass is on the bench the entire year, and we're going, well, but if he was on the field, like that's where I guess where I'm coming from, okay? And obviously you have no guarantee with anybody in the NFL that they're gonna play a full season. I understand that. But again, just to me, I'm like, man, that would be our luck to get all excited about this signing and then some bullshit happen where he's sitting on the bench the entire year and we're just sitting there going, well, but if that would have worked out, which I'm sorry, but I'm sick of having that conversation.
Man.
When it comes to people that we pick up. Well, I mean, if he just would have been healthy, well, damn it, be healthy.
If
Like,
it was a fifth, we all be drunk.
Right,
Right,
but granted,
like,
Bradley Chubb has only had 3 seasons where he did not play the whole season. And
Right.
that's it.
Right.
That's shit.
Like I said, he's 29 years old. And again, if you want to know, if you really want to know the story about Bradley Chubb,
5 out of 8. 5 out of 8.
I'm just saying, if you really want to know the story about Bradley Chubb, ask a Broncos fan. Because they will tell you when the man's on the field, oof, he's a problem. But he's also a problem because he ain't never on the field. And that's why they had to let him go to Miami, because they couldn't build a defense around him. And that's the only thing that I will say in this situation is that he's
I'm not trusting Denver at that point. Denver.
But he's
Denver
not
was kinda
being
ass.
asked to be the focal point of the defense here. So that's a reason why it might actually work. Now that I think about it, he's not being asked to be that guy that we build the whole thing around. Aiden Hutchinson.
We have the man. Right.
Aiden Hutchinson is that guy. And I don't think there's going to be an ego problem. Let me just say that out. I really think Bradley Chubb is going to want to play for a contender. Right now, everybody's linking him to the Jets. And I get it because Aaron Glenn's there, and I get it because they probably have a lot of money. But if I'm 29 years old and I'm Bradley Chubb and I've played for the Broncos after they, had their Super Bowl with Manning, and then after that I came in and it was kind of a shit show, and then I went to Miami and it was kind of a shit show. I'm not, no offense to Aaron Glenn, I'm not trying to sign up for another shit show.
Right. You got to think about it.
Chance at the playoffs, and Detroit.
Exactly.
It's a good match. It's a good match.
That's the key.
To end this topic here, though, my friends, let's go around the room. Simple yes or no. Does Brad Holmes do this? Nate.
Does Brad Holmes does it, or should Brad Holmes do it?
No, does he do it? Not should he, because I think everybody would probably say he should if the money's right and everything else is right. My question, though, is does this man do it? Because this is the first time that we've actually had all the ingredients that Brad likes. We have production, we have injury. Man. Like, it's all in one guy. I mean, how can you resist that temptation?
That's like saying, does Santa Claus come between 12 and 1 or 2 and 3?
But
like, I don't know.
You hear what I'm saying? Like, he loves injured players who are on a good deal. This is a guy who has
realistically, I would say he should. But asking, does he? He doesn't do nothing that we think he should. So,
but usually though, the things we think he should do go completely against what he has done in his history. This time around, it actually would fit his history because of the injury history.
I'm going to say he should. I can't say he will. I'm going to say he should.
That's smiling, the only thing I can get. Nate's smiling, though.
Because
he so bad wants to say he's going to do it.
I know, but this is Brad Holmes, man. You don't.
But you have injury.
I don't think he knows what he knows.
And you have productivity.
Listen, I don't think he knows the moment he goes to bed. Literally depends on, he might get up outside of the bed and be like, hey, left foot yes, right foot no in the morning. Fuck, I don't know.
He's going to wake up with a chub for chub.
But just think about it. Guess what? I get here tonight? Yes. If I don't know, fuck, I don't know, man.
Hey, I'm telling you, he going to wake up with a chub for chub. I'm just saying. So he going outside of them.
Pause.
That was crazy.
I gotta work in one every show. Gotta work in one.
Cavs, go ahead, man.
I say, yeah. I mean, one thing about Brad, he do his homework, man. Like, he is all about his analytics and all about, digging into, information to try to find out what he needs to know about said players or what have you. But I say he's definitely going to entertain it. And like I said, if it's reasonable and it fits up under the salary cap, then hell, why not? But if it's overly you just got to pay him too much money. That goes for Muhammad too. And shout out to my guy, Certified Asshole, that's in the comment section. If it's overpaying for a player, I'm not doing that, because right now, like I say, we already in a cap financial hell right now. So to overpay for a guy that's gonna give you bare minimum or just gonna give you spurts, to me, it just ain't worth it. But Brad Holmes will do his homework, and if it makes sense, shit, why not? Like, how you feel, Bobby?
I say he's not gonna do it, and he fucking better not.
Okay.
He's not
right.
gonna do it, and he fucking better not.
Why, Bobby?
Because we're gambling on a commodity that we're hoping gonna, like you cited his injuries and whatnot. If I'm gonna roll the dice, I'm gonna roll the dice with what I already seen for what I already wanted for. And rolling the dice, if we gotta roll the dice, might as well roll it with Muhammad, because we already seen what he did with it. But I ain't talking like paying him what you gonna pay Chubb, because to be honest,
but you gonna have to pay that worthless dude at least
But I'm saying though, I'd rather overpay for a motherfucker that was already here than a motherfucker that's already hurting somewhere else. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's not an every down guy, and then he doesn't set the edge. You can't give a guy that don't set the edge $15 million.
I also said I want to draft a certain person, so I don't really want him either.
Hey, yeah, but throwing his damn name in there at the end.
But we talking about if we gonna gamble, that means I have no other choice but them fucking two. That's what I mean, and that would be.
That's like saying, okay, do I want to? Oh, never mind, because I might get in some trouble using that analogy.
Hey, listen.
Stick with the poison,
you want to go, Nate.
Stick with the poison, Stick with the poison, But I'm just saying, it's a lot of people. He bouncing. You know what I mean? And we already seen, and it's more of how well Muhammad played. Because to be honest, he ain't the Lions as a team played in fucking spurts this year. So I'm not just gonna say it was him.
Yeah, but he had one good year of spurts.
So let me hop in here and say this, because I get what I do understand where Bobby's coming from. I do. I don't. That's not the direction I would go in, and here's why. All right. Muhammad, we talked about this last week. Muhammad has never had a contract like the one he could potentially have right now. Depending on if he can find the suitor who wants to pay him the money, he could have himself life-changing money, okay, because of the season he had last year. And we could talk about the fact that it came in spurts. We could talk about all that. But
I got a perfect example.
But the main thing is he has never had the opportunity to be as attractive to a buyer as he is right now. So with that in mind, he is going to come into Brad Holmes' office with his agent, and he's going to say, "What can y'all do for me?" And honestly, I can't blame Muhammad for that. Not at all. Because this might be your last chance to have a big contract, your first and last chance. So he's not going to be trying to take a discount to stay with the Lions. He's going to want to get his big old bag of money. So in that circumstance, do you bet on the guy who was here who only had one good year? Or do you go get the guy who, from my understanding anyway, I don't have the stats in front of me, but was an all-pro or in that conversation? So that's where, to me, okay, if Bradley Chubb is for the right price, you go and you get Bradley Chubb.
Start getting rid of him because...
So I'm not saying get rid of him.
No, but the Dolphins getting rid of Chubb because he played great, or what the fuck? Why
so they scrapping that team.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's a fire sale over there.
I believe the Dolphins are getting rid of Chubb because of the fact that they are changing into a new team with their new coach, new general manager, and they're looking at that contract and saying we
Being
can.
similar to what he ran when he had. Are we running the same defenses? Because I don't know our defensive scheme, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Me
So
neither.
is it? Are we running? So are we running a similar scheme to when he had success, or is he coming in
Okay.
learning a new scheme and all that shit?
No, it's okay. So
Because I don't want
it's essentially okay. So it's essentially the same thing. So when he was in Miami, he played pretty much. They had him as an outside linebacker. So when he comes here, it's the same thing with Hutch. He can stand up, put his hand in the dirt. You can move him around. It's not like when we ran that nickel and we had that what they call that was the rush package and all that.
Oh, NASCAR.
Bradley Chubb, that NASCAR package. Bradley Chubb literally has grown into a complete defensive end.
For sure.
Complete defensive end. Like literally sets the edge. You can't run around him. You can't run through him. You know, Miami was just poorly coached. Like that's all it was. Like
and when you have nobody on the other side of you, you can just slide protection.
So it's the same thing with Hutch. Yeah. The only thing they did is not like where you got Micah Parsons and you know to beat Micah, we just run at him. You can't do that with Bradley Chubb. You can't do that with Hutch. So only thing they did was just run away from him. We run outside zone on the right side. If he on the left, guess what? If he on the right, we run stretch zone to the left. It's pretty simple. I mean, but as far as him, Bradley Chubb as a player and what he does and how he fits a defense, Bradley Chubb can fit in any. Now, I don't know the locker room, but again, it seemed like it was a lot of prima donnas in Miami.
So the team he owned, so the team he owned rather roll the dice with the draft too, basically.
Well, hell no, they ain't got nobody over there.
Yeah, I think for Miami, they would rather roll their dice as far as let's save as much money as we can.
Yeah,
you know, they're probably I hate to put it this way, but they're probably going tank. Because I remember back when Cleveland did it, you know, Cleveland tanked for a few years and they were able to get, you know, Nick Chubb. They were able to get, you know, Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield.
They still suck.
But here's the thing though. if you look at what Sashi Brown did for the Cleveland Browns back in the day, right?
True.
A lot of people look at that as, oh my God, the Browns are inept. Look at their horrible record. But in reality, and this is a thing that I found so funny, right? And I don't mean to get off in a conspiracy theory here, but Hugh Jackson, who I always liked Hugh Jackson, but Hugh Jackson literally sued the NFL and was like, they tried to make me look bad. They tanked on purpose. And when the NFL did an investigation, they were like, oh, no, that never happened. He was.
I knew that's where you was going.
But here's the thing, though. You can actually find it. Joe Thomas, longtime offensive tackle, Joe Thomas, literally says in an interview with him that I don't know where to find it exactly, but I heard it from the horse's mouth, that when Sashi Brown and company took over at Cleveland, they went to Joe and they said the next couple years are going to be very hard because we need to tank this thing to rebuild it. He actually said it. But then when they did a whole investigation, they didn't find nothing. But the point is, they were able to get rid of.
Didn't Miami do that? Miami did do that when they had Brian Flores, and they told them they bet not win the last couple of games, and he got fired because he won one of the last couple of games. I remember that too.
But like I said, with Cleveland though, it was a documented thing. And yet they still tried to make Hugh Jackson look crazy whenever he brought it up. But
they butthurt.
They tanked it so they could have enough money in their salary cap, so they could have all the draft picks in the world, and then they built up a team, and then they just let it all fall apart because they went after Deshaun Watson instead of actually sticking with what was working or actually finding something better. But anyway,
paying him almost $300 million.
Getting back to the Lions, though. Getting back to the Lions. I think that's what Miami's doing. So I don't think this is an indictment on Bradley Chubb. I don't think
that's definitely what they're doing.
Hill. I think both of those guys can still play.
That's who I would want to go for.
But they want new blood in their organization, and they want to start over. Just like how I would be shocked if Tua is still there, because that's now the conversation is where's Tua going to go?
He cooked because he was, remember, the last few games of the season, they put him down the third string. He cooked.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think he's out too, you know. So again, I don't think it's because they can't play ball. I don't think it's because they're bad locker room guys. I think it's because Miami's saying, all right, we know this is a sinking ship. We're going down, and we don't want to take these guys with us on the way down
True
because you
shit.
know they're towards the end of their careers and they deserve to go somewhere else and play meaningful football. So I think that's what's happening. And again, I'm on board as much of it as much as it's a pie in the sky thing. I'm on board with Max Crosby being a Detroit Lion. But if we can't get a Max Crosby, Bradley Chubb is not a bad option assuming he stays on the field. And again, he's not nobody that we draft, nobody that we get in free agency is being asked to have the defense built around them. We already have that guy. It's Aiden Hutchinson. And I will say, I am so happy that our organization has learned from a previous mistake we made back when we didn't extend Ndamukong Suh.
Man.
Because back then we made sure
No,
Calvin was set,
we put it all into your favorite quarterback.
no, I understand. We made sure Stafford was set. We made sure Calvin was set, and we sacrificed what was a dominant defense because we got rid of Ndamukong Suh, and then we drafted Eric Ebron instead of actually, replacing what we had in the
You gotta
defense.
think about it. What you lost off of that defense wasn't just in Ndamukong Suh. You lost the depth.
Yeah,
But and like a lot of those guys got paid. When you talking about Willie Young, James Jones, Mosley, Ziggy, old ass, all them guys got paid, and we only person we kept was DeAndre Levy.
and again, like I said, it seems like our organization has learned
And
from
Nick
that.
Fairley.
But like I said, it seems like our organization has learned from that.
I hope so.
Just like how our organization has learned from, drafting people that hardly ever get on the field together, but they're supposed to be dynamic duos, right? Like I remember very vividly
Ooh.
when we got Javid Best and Mikel LaShore, and they were supposed to be the Thunder and Lightning, and yet they were hardly ever on the field together. Just like how Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley were supposed to be the monsters in the middle, but yet they were hardly ever on the field together. So our organization has done a better job pairing athletes together, and they've done a better job so far anyway of keeping all the talent in the building. But like I said, if you can get a Bradley Chubb and then draft somebody, that's my one caveat. You don't just get Bradley and say job finished. You got to draft somebody too. But if you
Just
do that two
imagine
piece to the
Sue
puzzle,
and Aaron Donald side by side.
but if you
Man.
do that two piece to the puzzle, I'm good with it. And I don't know if you guys are on the same page as me as far as that's concerned, but if it's for the
Yeah,
right
yeah, I
price
am. I'm with
and
you.
you also draft somebody else, I'm good with it. Nate?
I'm with you. I'm with you. The writing's on the wall. Again, we just gotta wait to see what Brad gonna do. Like I tell you, I think he makes his mind up by which foot hits the floor in the morning. So I don't know.
And again,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny when I say it, but in years past, Brad has always looked for good football players, right? We got to find good football players. And a lot of times it's people that have an injury history who are, a good story as well. And again, when you look at Bradley Chubb, I'm not trying to be funny
I
when I
mean,
say
right,
it,
the right,
but
the writing's there. The writing's on the
he literally
wall.
checks all the boxes that we
He
normally have.
does.
And the one box that he doesn't check is because it doesn't exist in Brad's previous behavior, because that box is productivity. Because yes,
Yes.
Bradley has the injury history. Yes, he would be a good story.
It's
Yes, he
no
was
way
a good
Marcus
locker room dude,
Davenport
but
makes.
also he
Jeez.
was productive. So you're not getting an unknown commodity like you're so used to doing. But again, you may have to pay for that because he's not an unknown commodity. So we'll see what happens with that. We are at 7:22. We got about 30 minutes left in tonight's program. So I want to toss it over to the guys here. What else do y'all want to talk about outside of Bradley Chubb?
Me, I got one. It's up to y'all. If y'all want to roll with, we'll roll with. I got
Hey,
one.
go ahead.
Okay. What do you guys think the potential? Again, it's another Miami guy. So we're going to go offense. Tyreek coming off of that. We've had subpar third, fourth down wide receivers. What do you guys think of the potential of a JMO, Tyreek Hill,
fucking
I'll be
horrible.
right.
You'll have to pay
Sorry.
Tyreek Hill
It's
so
fine.
much money.
I
And he's
sorry.
coming off an
Not
ACL.
not coming off that
Hold on.
injury. No,
Hold
we
on.
don't.
One at a time, everybody. Nate, you
Hey,
this one.
hey,
was-
listen, not coming off that fluky, that fucked up ass injury, and that subpar ass motherfucking what's it? And I think his contract. Let me see. If I'm not mistaken, Miami's still on the ropes for his contract.
And what a contract that is, because he's got a lot of mouths to feed. He got like 20
Right.
bucks. So Nate, while you're looking that up, who do you want to talk about this?
Dude, I will. I'll just jump in.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No, don't want him. Several reasons why. Number one, he ain't just like tear his ACL. He tore all that stuff and broke his tibia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he over 30. And the best thing attribute was his speed. And we always talk about locker room guys. Last year he was voted the team captain. This year he wasn't the team captain, so he got demoted. Like I said, he probably already going to Kansas City because the team that would already know him and used to how he affect people. You don't want Tyreek Hill to be around no fucking JMO. For real, they just
Well, I mean, it's different now, man. J-Mo's
like,
different.
Now, no, I ain't talking about that. Like, it don't even be JMO. I wouldn't want Tyreek Hill nowhere around nobody that's young and learning in the league, man. He don't even seem like the type of guy you would want to like emulate the things he do, because most of the stuff he good at, he the only person that can do that. And then along with the injury, like Tyreek and Nate, I know you appreciate this as a true runner. Like Tyreek Hill, he's a super fast runner, right? But he's probably the fastest de-escalator too when it comes to changing from speed to cut out to, you know what I mean? He can slow down fast too. Like that. I have to see him in action again before I even want them to be the third.
That's definitely understandable. So what I have to look at is that Tyreek Hill had zero guaranteed money in 2026. So he has zero guaranteed money. Now the cap hit is still 51 million.
Yeah.
So, but guess what? That has nothing to do with us.
But people got to understand this too. Max Crosby, as bad as we want him, he has a $54 million cap hit.
54 million, right?
So the Raiders got to want to take that cap hit in order to trade him.
Right. See, this is why Miami just said we're gonna take the release. Now, his next contract, Miami is what's on the books for that. That's Miami and their dead money. That they're responsible for Tyreek's contract. Tyreek's contract has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool and shit, but
I'm just saying, when you think about this, Jameer.
But look, you got a 6'5" receiver that run 4.3. You don't need Tyreek, bro.
But here's the thing about that 6'5". But here's the thing now. He's a 6'5" wide receiver that runs a 4.3 straight line speed. He's not a guy who's good at cutting and running routes yet. So think about this. The way that you use Khalif Raymond and the rest of these guys, you don't even need that. Tesla can still learn the route tree. You still giving him the chance. You get his routes in there and let him learn the craft. So now, who the fuck do you double? Everybody.
You can't double nobody.
See, but that's my thing. So, and think about this, and you still have Laporta. If you wanted to, you could run a spread out with Jared Goff and couldn't nobody touch him because of all this. Granted, it's not ideal, but it's just literally the mindset of what I'm looking for when you talk about the NFL.
And we ain't never seen nobody this fast recover from an injury like this, though. He probably the fastest person I ever seen get their leg hurt like that. So it's gonna be a question. His speed is a question until
He'll still be fast, but he probably ain't gonna be as explosive as he was.
He tore everything in that knee.
ACL, MCL, PCL, all that.
And he broke his leg.
Yeah.
You got to go up. See, but think about it now. Now remember,
he gonna look like me out there, G.
No,
He tore every
Hurst, hey,
leg.
think about it.
He
Hey,
broke his leg.
hey, Garrison Hurst did. Remember, Garrison Hurst did it in what? How many legs, Cat?
But
Didn't
Garrison
Garrison Hurst
Hurst
do it
was
with both?
never this fast. He
No,
was
he
But
was
never
not.
no, no,
this
no. But what I'm
fast.
saying is, but here's
He
the
was
thing.
never this
He
fast.
tore it in the left. He did it in the
You
right.
can't name a guy that's been as fast as Tyreek Hill that got an ACL and came back the same. You can't name a guy like that, Nate. You can't.
I can't even think of a fast guy who actually tore his ACL, honestly.
Exactly. This is an unknown area.
Oh, yeah, J-Mo did it.
Oh, J-Mo's just as fast as Tyreek Hill.
No.
Right.
No,
J-Mo.
but he's saying Tyreek ripped his whole knee
J-Mo
up.
did not blow out every ligament.
Yeah.
He
J-Mo.
didn't break his leg.
Right.
Tyreek got that. He
You're
got
right
that
on
Marcus Lattimore. What's that buddy name from
Yeah,
the running back from
Marcus.
South Carolina?
Remember
Marcus
Dante
Lattimore.
Culpepper?
Marcus Lattimore.
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
Dante Culpepper. He was that fast like that and blew his knee out.
No,
like that.
no, the fuck he wasn't. Dante Culpepper, 260
He was a
pounds.
runner. He was a runner.
But he
though.
ran, but he was as
But he
fast
ain't
as
no
you.
runner no more. I'm just saying.
No, but Cass, listen. I mean, Bobby, Dante Culpepper was never that. He was just big.
Okay,
Dante
then.
Culpepper ran a 4.740.
But like you said, there's never been nobody as fast as Tyreek Hill that got the ACL come back. He is really like a test. We got to see how he
real
is.
quick.
Let me.
Hold on, Eli, real quick. I got to roll, fellas. I got to get the baby in bed.
All right,
see
brother.
you boys.
Do
I'm still gonna be tuning in, and I'll be in the live comments.
Do what you gotta do.
All right, gang.
Yeah.
So as far as the discussion here, the only thing that I will throw out there, right, when we're talking about, players in the past who have had ACL injuries, we also need to, and I'm not saying I disagree with Bobby, because I think Bobby's got.
Oh, but it's not an ACL. He blew his
No,
whole
I understand.
Every ligament. That's just one ligament. He blew his whole knee out,
But
all 3 ligaments, and broke his leg too. That's different.
I understand what you're saying, Bobby. What I'm saying though is we also have to factor in the fact that medicine has advanced.
It ain't the same.
Has advanced and done wonders since Dante Culpepper had his injury, since Donovan McNabb had his injury, since Michael Vick broke his leg against Baltimore in the preseason game when he was playing for the Falcons back in the early 2000s. Those injuries, and Bobby's right, those injuries where you blow out your whole knee, that used to be it.
That ain't like
career ending.
Oh no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that.
Now those injuries are still serious, but we see people come back from those things. Nick Chubb broke like every single thing in his body at Georgia.
Todd Gurley did it. Todd Gurley did it in college.
Right. Yeah, but they said Todd Gurley had arthritic knees at 28.
Right.
Yeah. So
but here's my thing as far as whether or not to even do it. I would say not to do it for the simple reason that offense is not where you need help. Offensive skill position is not where we need extra assistance right now. I don't think we lost games last year because we didn't have the offensive superstars. We lost games last year because our defense sucked, because our offensive line wasn't gelled together. And when I look at our offensive weapons right now, I mean, you got Laporta, you got Gibbs, you've got J-Mo, you got St. Brown. You have all these great people. And you also have Tesla, who pretty much every time they threw that kid the ball, he scored a touchdown. Like, look at his stats. Like, pretty much every time they threw that man the ball, it was for a touchdown. Now, Nate's right. He's got to develop more on the route tree. But you know what that sounds like to me? Kind of sounds like J-Mo, because we said that about J-Mo for the first 2 years. He's got to learn more of the route tree. Now, I'm not saying Tesla is J-Mo. Please don't think that. They are very different athletes. But what I am saying is you have your 3 wide receivers. You have St. Brown, who is your your kind of your yak guy, your first down guy when you need it. You've got J-Mo, who can beat everybody down the field. And you have Tesla, who, if he develops into what he could be, man, I'm not serious. So again, I look at it, and this receiving core is quite possibly the best I've ever seen the Lions have. I mean, I remember, back in the early 2000s, they were trying to put together a receiving core, but every time they drafted
More
somebody,
Brett Perriman. They're not better
but
than
like I said, every time they drafted somebody, the next person they went to go draft or put beside them got injured, and it just never worked out. And then when Calvin was here, of course, everybody thought, all right, here we go. We got Ryan Broyles, we got Titus Young, and those guys never worked out. And then, of course, we had,
Titus Young was different, but
but
I mean, even
my point is, Nate, I've never seen a
I know, I
Lions
got you.
team. I've never seen a Lions team 3 deep at receiver with all guys who either have contract extensions already, St. Brown and JMO, and you have this promising guy who's still on his rookie deal, and you have Jameer on his rookie deal, and Laporta still on his rookie deal. I mean, we're good on offense. Now, if Tyreek Hill, if you think he could still add value, I wouldn't, I wouldn't bitch about it. But again, if you get him and you don't get Bradley Chubb, if you get Tyreek Hill and you don't get any help for that defense, then yeah, I'm gonna bitch about it because that's the part that we
right,
need to fix.
right. That's what I'm saying. Long as they like I say, it was just a hypothetical because I don't want like I think you always want to continue to increase and put more pressures on defense. Like we know that we do need the defense for sure, but you can always change it with the times, change it with the rules. The way offenses continue to change and be innovative. You want to stay as up to date as you possibly can. So that was the only reason why I looked at that, not saying like, hey, go out here. This isn't Tyreek Hill from Kansas City or the first year in Miami. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just looked at the role of what we can actually let Tesla continue to develop, and still, regardless with Tyreek's injury, people are still going to be scared of.
Yeah,
You're,
and hell yeah, and
you're
then
still not going to put one guy. If Tyreek Hill is running straight, you're not going to just let one safety sit in the middle and not run over there. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Well,
That was just
and the other thing that I would ask you, Nate, because I think that you've always been fair when discussing this, and Bobby, please weigh in as well, my friend. Um, Can Jared Goff handle any more speed on the offense? And I'm not saying that in a funny way. I'm saying that because how many times did we bitch and moan about the fact that he would underthrow JMO or that he wouldn't be able to hit JMO in stride, and yet we want to sign up for a double dose of that for Tyreek Hill?
But granted, I have to give him credit. I've also seen him overthrow JMO as a couple.
But that's what I'm asking though. Is like,
Yeah, but I think
Jared
he
Goff
can
has
because
developed that part of his
I
game?
think that what that does, it essentially opens up everything else even more.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? You really can't just sit in the middle and watch Laporta. And then when Jameer is coming out the backfield, essentially you can't play zone against that. Them two guys just running straight ahead is going to be a problem. So you're looking at Amon-Ra becoming even more productive. You're looking at Laporta coming back, who's going to be coming off an injury, who we haven't really addressed yet.
Yeah.
Him coming off an ACL injury. So Brock Wright out for the year. So now you're going to have to look at that tight end thing. So like you're going to need that safety blanket, which actually hurt us as we seen without Laporta. It hurt us a lot.
I would agree with that, and I think Laporta's injury was a back injury, if I'm not mistaken. Which to me,
I think it was a back. I think it was back, but to be
is
out
more
for the year,
concerning. To me, that's more concerning than an
yes,
ACL injury
because
a back
that's the
injury leads to
same
other
thing.
things.
This guy Ozurique's had a back injury since he's been here. He's had spinal fusion surgery, spinal taps. He worked on his back every single year.
Yeah.
This is why you get the flashes, but them back injuries, they're crazy. Which is why I look at David Njoku as a replacement.
Yeah. Bobby, we have got about 15 minutes left here, my man. Do you have any subjects you want us to discuss with
yeah. Actually, I want to jump in on what y'all was talking about. As far as like, if we don't protect Jared Goff, it don't matter. It don't matter how fast any of them dudes is.
Hey,
I think the biggest. I think the bigger problem with the damn offense is protecting Goff. because you know he need time to wrap his arm up. You know what I mean? You know he got to really like step into his deep passes. So
True.
if he get pressure up the middle, it ain't you have
Yeah,
you
up the
say
middle.
golf,
Yeah,
it ain't getting there.
that's
It
why
ain't
we
getting there.
gotta you
When golf
go
is
out.
protected, and don't got them stupid ass fucking gloves on, he throw pretty good.
Kittens
I
with
swear.
mittens.
So
Kittens with
yeah,
mittens.
so I'm okay with it, but until we make, to me, protecting the getting the offensive line is the biggest inefficiency on this damn team. Not the secondary, not the pass rush, protecting the damn quarterback. The offense is the engine of this team. This defense, the defense.
The defense is the transmission. The
Yeah,
offense is the motor.
but I tell you like this though, we went 15-2 without Hutch, so I can't say
Then we got blasted
but I
by
can't say,
Because he couldn't defend nothing.
yeah, but I
right.
can't say I can't. But the offense was high tuned to cover that shit. I think it's easier to put the offense with full weapons, and then the defense. The defense need a lot of work. I think with that, like a lot of times it came down to us having 3 and outs. We were like the worst team in the league on third down this year. We was definitely one of the worst. So all of that, we gotta like all of that. I'm saying is we gotta make sure that offense is running at top notch because we closer to be. Well, I can say it's easier to do that because we only missing a few pieces on that line, and it's more of the interior, right? So I think it's easier to get the offense together so we can even see what we got with them damn receivers. Because believe it or not, we can't get. He better not be trying to give up on the kid from Arkansas.
No. I doubt it. I can say I don't think they are.
But I'm just saying. But you got to put him out there. Don't get no more fucking receivers until you use the one you traded up to get.
Well, think about. But like I said, the thing about tall wide receivers is learning how.
Why didn't they put him at tight end when Laporta got hurt?
Because that's not his position. He's not big enough. See, and what you don't want to do, you don't want to get to. Yeah, you don't want to get a guy going into something that physical that he's not accustomed to. Yeah. Having him trying to block these big defensive ends and defensive
because he's gonna have to block.
Yeah, that ain't it. That's
he's gonna have to block.
Man, you've been a guy that destroyed it. Man, you have him out there with the confidence of Joey Harrington. Like, nah, I'm good.
So real quick, we got a lot of people watching right now, and we love to see that. Thank you, everybody. If you guys could, please just take 1 second for us and just like this video and hit that subscribe button. We would really, really appreciate it, okay? Like this video and hit that subscribe button because we got a lot of people watching right now, a lot of people tuning in, a lot of people finding the podcast again for the first time in a hot minute. So thank you. We appreciate it. This is episode 99. Which obviously means our next episode will be 100, which is crazy. But again, if y'all could please like this video right now, just take a second, like this video for us, and hit that
number
if you can.
90.
Like I said, please subscribe because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Once we do, we unlock a lot of cool things that YouTube will be able to give us access to that we haven't had access.
We're going to do a giveaway next week for our 100th show.
That would be nice.
I'm gonna cover that. We're going to do a giveaway next week.
All right. So as we are getting here down towards closing time for this week's episode, something that I talk about a lot, and I know Bobby sometimes is annoyed by it, but I always like to bring up the options that football fans have during springtime, right?
Because, no, you asshole! I watched the American League. I mean, I watched the league, the UFL.
Okay, all right. So, because I know when I first mentioned it a few years ago, Bobby was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
And I remember saying on the episode, I gotta find it. I said, Elijah, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance just for you, and I liked it. So I just
We
did.
did.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So let me run down some of these leagues, okay? And I can't give you the history on all of them. Not going to try to give you the history on all of them, but I want to tell you your options, okay? And these are not all your options, but these are some options to check out. First up, you got the Indoor Football League. Now, a lot of people, when I say that, you assume I'm talking about the league Kurt Warner was in. This is not that league, okay? This is not that league. The Indoor Football League was created back in 2008, and they have been playing football ever since. And they are in some, mid markets. They're not really like in a whole lot of major markets. And their players make a decent salary, but they play 8-on-8 football on a 50-yard field. And the special thing about their league is that they allow multiple players in motion at the snap of the play, which is kind of cool to see. Like it looks kind of cool. But here are the teams in the Indoor Football League. All right, you have Fisher's Freight, which is in Fishers, Indiana, the Green Bay Blizzard, Iowa Barnstormers, Jacksonville Sharks, the Orlando Pirates, who, by the way, used to be the Massachusetts Pirates. They packed up their bags and they headed down to Orlando. They're going to be playing ball down there this year. Quad City Steamwheelers out in Illinois, the Tulsa Oilers out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Arizona Rattlers, the New Mexico Chupacabras, Northern Arizona, yeah, Northern Arizona Wranglers, San Antonio Gunslingers, San Diego Strike Force, Tucson Sugar Skulls. I love their logo, by the way. The Sugar Skulls.
Yeah. We talked about that, didn't we?
And the Vegas Nighthawks. Now, they begin their season coming up in March. I believe it's March 14th is when they start. So that's something to kind of take a look at if you are into that. Now, moving on to Arena Football. Now, this is the one that I love, okay? Arena Football League had been around since 1987. They ended up going bankrupt in 2008 due to the financial crisis. Then they came back a few years later after that. And they were around until 2019 when they went bankrupt again, unfortunately. And then they came back back in 2024. And at that point in time, they tried to launch with 16 teams, and the commissioner had no clue what he was doing. He was a former lawyer, and he ended up needing a lawyer by the time he was done because he got
Sound like
out
Rob
of the
Wood.
league. He ended up getting kicked out of the league, and Jeff Fisher, yes, that Jeff Fisher, former Tennessee Titans head coach, ended up taking over as commissioner of the league. Now, because of some of the lawsuits, they were no longer able to call themselves the Arena Football League. So they rebranded, and last season they played their first year as Arena Football 1. Okay? So that's what they ended up becoming, was Arena Football 1. Now, they have got some teams that are going to be starting up in, I believe it is April. Okay? So that's when they will be playing their football. And here are those teams. And again, this is the league that I pay the most attention to be perfectly honest with you. But they have got the Albany Firebirds, who have been doing it for a long, long time. They're a lot of fun to watch, and they usually sell out that arena. They also have got the Beaumont Renegades. They're out in Texas. That's a newer team to the Arena Football 1. The Kentucky Barrels. Now, this is interesting. They're playing
It sounds like they be drunk before the game.
Yeah, no, I know. This is a brand new team. They're playing at Highland Heights, Kentucky, which is right there on the border of Kentucky and Ohio, and they're right next to Cincinnati. So they're going to try to pull from that fan base as well. I think they'll probably have a lot of success doing so. And they're playing in a 7,000-seat arena, which means that even if it ain't that full, it's going to look really full, which I think is smart on their part. Michigan's got a team. This is pretty cool. Michigan's got a team, first year for them, the Michigan Arsenal. They will be playing in Saginaw, Michigan. They will be playing at the Dow Event Center, and that's, I guess, near the Tri-Cities area. It's a 5,500-seat arena for the Michigan Arsenal, their first year in operation. Minnesota Monsters will also be playing in Duluth, Minnesota. Oceanside Bombers in San Diego. Oregon Lightning out there in Redmond, Oregon, and the Washington Wolfpack in Everett, Washington. That makes up Arena Football 1, and again, their commissioner is Jeff Fisher. That Jeff Fisher from the NFL, and I fully suspect he will be using all of his connections to try to make sure that this league is as legit as it possibly can be. And for all those lawsuits I was talking about earlier, once Jeff Fisher got involved, they stopped having lawsuits. So I've been very encouraged by what I'm seeing as far as that's concerned. Now over to the United Football League. That's the one that, of course, everybody knows about because of the fact that they've got the highest publicity TV-wise. Here are those teams. You've got the Birmingham Stallions, who had to do kind of a weird thing at the end of last season where they actually told their fans, hey, unless we sell a certain amount of season tickets, we got to pack up our things and go somewhere else. And the community of Birmingham said, we like you enough, we want you to stay. But it was one of those things where they're one of the most successful teams in the United Football League, and yet they can't draw a crowd. So apparently they were, Birmingham Stallions.
Oh, Alabama.
So, but like I said, they're one of the most successful teams in the league, and yet they can't seem to draw a consistent fan base. So they're going to try to give it another go. We'll see what happens with that. Up next is the Columbus Aviators out in Columbus, Ohio. Brand new team, and this team is actually going to be coached by Ted Ginn Jr. Yes, that Ted Ginn Jr. He's going to be coaching the Columbus Aviators. So we'll see what happens with them. Dallas Renegades, DC Defenders, Houston Gamblers, Louisville Kings, Orlando Storm, and the St. Louis Battlehawks. That rounds out the United Football League. The Michigan team they had, they folded. So now, interestingly enough, I just told you guys that in the
the Michigan Panthers?
Yeah, they're gone.
Did they win the championship?
Yeah, they were up for it, but again, they weren't drawing a crowd, so they're done.
Damn, they won the championship and still ain't won. Damn.
But I do want to put this out there to everybody, and I think this will be interesting from a marketing perspective. In the Indoor Football League, you have the Orlando Pirates. In the United Football League, you have the Orlando Storm. And obviously, you have one community of Orlando. So what team, granted they're very different football, what team is going to pull the bigger crowd? The team that's playing outdoors or the team that's playing indoors? I'll be very curious about that. And then the last league that I wanted to mention here before we get to closing remarks is, of course, the one that's been doing it longer than any of those leagues put together. And that, of course, is our good friends to the north, the Canadian Football League. They will start up their preseason in May. So that is their situation. They'll be starting in May. And here are those teams in the CFL. You have the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Montreal Alouettes, Ottawa Red Blacks, Toronto Argonauts, BC Lions, Calgary Stampeders, Edmonton Elks, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And if you have not been keeping up with CFL football, they are actually modifying a lot of their rules to be able to, play a similar game to the NFL, which I thought was kind of interesting. So if you want to look up some of those, I would definitely encourage you to do so. But some of the rule changes have Canadian Football League enthusiasts and purists kind of pissed off because they like having their 12-man football on a 110-yard field and all the different things that make their game special. And they don't really like the fact that now they're modifying it to be closer to the NFL. But again, we don't have time to go into all those rule changes. But again, if you are a football fan and you are saying, man, what are my options? That's a whole lot of options. And that's not even all your options. So if you want to watch good football, I would encourage you to check out these leagues, because normally what ends up happening is you end up finding some players who end up going through these different leagues and end up getting an opportunity to play for teams like ours. Look at Jake Bates. Jake Bates is a perfect example of that. He wasn't on an NFL roster. He was playing for the Michigan Panthers and ended up playing for the Lions, and now he's our full-time.
Yeah, that's why I started watching it, because that's why I was like, man, how he's the best fucking kicker in Michigan and he ain't on the damn Lions. Right. I remember.
So again, lots of options there for you should you choose to watch it. And like I said, I know for myself, I'll be watching Arena Football 1. I'll be checking in on Indoor Football League. And as far as United Football League, I'm not saying that I'm not interested, but that one to me is probably my least favorite of all the ones that I mentioned tonight, just because, I'm waiting for that moment where they
do we know where we watch them at? Do they have, I know the one got the network with ESPN, but how you watch them?
So Arena Football 1 is still looking to announce their broadcast partner. Indoor Football League is going to be on. I think it's they're actually going to be on a network this year. I just can't remember which one. I think it's actually Yahoo Sports. is I believe
Oh,
what they're going through, which is
yeah, yeah,
interesting
yeah.
because I haven't heard that name in forever. But again, they're going to be,
You
I
watch
think,
them
on
on
Yahoo
the
Sports, if I'm not
website.
mistaken.
That'll be
Uh,
sweet. Though.
and again, all these leagues have their own apps as well. So, but
Okay.
like I said, that's where I believe all that's going to be happening. But again, plenty of options. If you're a football fan, you want to watch a little football, and then of course you always have what I do as well, which is watch old games. I like to go back
That's
and
what my
watch
dad do.
games that I already know what the
That's,
result is. You
that's what
know,
my dad do. My dad do the same shit all the
but
time. He watch old games and gun smoke.
but it is 7:53, so let's go ahead and get to our closing remarks. Bobby Bless, we'll start with you.
Yeah, man. I was interested to see. You know that the damn off season start what first week of March, so that's 2 weeks from now. So we'll be getting linked to several players and stuff. So you never really know when tampering season start. But believe it or not, it probably already started, huh, Elijah? Tampering season, as they say. Yeah,
Yeah,
they said
I
most
have
people
a I
already.
have a feeling people have been tampering since, probably playoffs. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, so don't be surprised don't be surprised some of these players that we have been linked to we might be linked to that but yeah, just a little bit more longer than that. Once we get to talk about the the draft players and what scouting them and whatnot, that's when I feel like traditionally the new year start. Once that man say that first who on the clock. So who got the first pick this year? I
the
forgot.
Raiders.
Raiders
Oh
sucky
yeah,
ass.
yeah, yeah. My those are going there for sure. So we gotta get a prospect watch together too. So
Yeah, and
till
that's
next
definitely
week.
coming, my friends. That's definitely
Yeah.
coming. Nate Rucker, closing remarks, man.
Uh, we one away to 100. So, we reaching that milestone. Again, thank everybody for chiming in. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all for all the likes, all the subscriptions. And again, our Lions gonna be all right. I also want to give a shout out to my homegirl Ree. If y'all don't see the hoodie, I had to get it in there for her one time. She does all color schemes.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's called Grind. I'm sorry. No days off. Grind never stops. So, hey, this is a way of life. Well, y'all know you
That's
work
true.
every day, you wake up every day, you put your pants on every day to get out
You
there and make some money.
grind every day.
Yeah, so if y'all looking for her, I told her I'd give her a shout out. So, her name is Ree. You can find her on Instagram. It's RIII with like maybe 3 underscores on it. You can't miss it. GNSL. Hey, she does wonders, man. So, appreciate you, Famo. And yeah, I think we got for our 100th episode. I'm gonna see what I can pull out the hat, do a little abracadabra, and see what type of giveaway we can do next week.
Yeah, you cool with the male people. Them your people.
Ain't that some shit?
All
Ain't
right.
that
So so for my closing remarks, my friends, I'm gonna say something to y'all, which in context of tonight's episode is not gonna make a whole lot of sense, but I think
So.
overall it's an important
oh,
thing for me to say. So what I'm gonna say is never,
I got you. Yeah,
no
I'm sorry.
matter what, my friends, never lose who you are.
I'm about to leave.
Regardless of what situation you might be going through, never lose who you are. Always act the way that you know you should act. And I will tell you that that's been a big thing for me. Is making sure that I always approach, every single thing the same way that I always do. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Approach things the way that you always do. And then on top of that, the same thing I say every single episode, but I hope it never gets old because it's good advice from my grandfather, even though he's not with us anymore. I know he's looking down. Again, every day that you wake up is an opportunity to improve your life and the lives of those you love. So get out there and take advantage. And if you come across a situation where your skill set can make it better, well, you not only have the opportunity, or I should say, you not only have the ability to do something because you got the skill set, but now you got the responsibility to do something about it. All right, my friends, for Wise Man Cast, Reggie Funches, Bobby Bless, Nate Rucker, I'm Elijah Winfrey. This is